Greetings gamers, Nexus here, and I have finally finished my playthrough of Cyberpunk 2077's campaign, as well as multiple hours spent doing side missions, gigs, etc. I played the PC version of the game, and here is my honest review of the experience so far. So without further ado, let's dive straight into it. Cyberpunk was undeniably this year's most hyped game, and with multiple delays in the past, players were very eager to finally get their hands on the final build of the game. But that hype soon turned into anger and frustration because Cyberpunk 2077 went the way of a Bethesda open world RPG. It was very buggy on release, and the day one patch didn't help it either. Base PS4 and Xbox users simply couldn't play the game as the game would frequently freeze or crash, and even if it did play, the horrifyingly low frame rates and missing textures made it an unplayable experience for many. Things got so serious that CD Projekt Red officially apologized to fans for knowingly deceiving them by not showing any or letting any reviewers show console footage for their reviews, and offered refunds in a last-ditch effort to try to maintain their goodwill. The game was even taken off of the PlayStation Store, which is unprecedented for a AAA release of this magnitude, and no indications are given as to when Cyberpunk 2077 will be back. Now, considering all of these things I've told you, you might be thinking, well, this is gonna be another negative review, but I promised it would be an honest one, and I will keep my word. So let's talk about the main things I liked about the game and what I didn't like about the game, starting off with the story. The story revolves around your character V, who is an ambitious soul looking to make a name for him or herself in Night City. You are presented with three options or life paths, in this case in the beginning of the game: Nomad, Street Kid, and Corpo. These life paths represent what life your character V has had before the events of the main story, and selecting any class unlocks different dialogue options when talking to other NPCs, a few exclusive missions, and that's about it. What was disappointing was the fact that these different life paths are inconsequential to the ending of the main storyline, so choosing which life path you want to play as is just a matter of preference. The story of the game will take you around 20 to 25 hours to beat, but the bulk of that playtime will consist of dialogues, with the actual gameplay being far less. I really believe that if you skipped every cutscene and played just the game, you can easily finish the main campaign in 5 to 6 hours. But this is an RPG game, and I know how important all of the dialogues are. My main concern was to point out what actual content you are getting out of it. With all of that being said, the main story of Cyberpunk 2077 was an enjoyable experience for me. The voice acting was top-notch, and the story was written well enough that I was eager to find out what the next mission will unfold. But the lack of mission variety meant that between those gaps in story segments, you were either sneaking behind enemy lines or just going in guns blazing. Many interesting gameplay mechanics like fist fights or street racing, etc., are presented as side missions, and this is the same developer that made The Witcher 3, my favorite game of all time. The Witcher 3 had a fantastic mission structure where the players was doing different tasks, from playing Gwent to fist fighting to horse racing, even during its main campaign, and it showcased what the game had in store in terms of content for those who just wanted to experience the main story and give them an incentive to keep playing long after the story was finished. This was a missed opportunity here that CD Projekt Red didn't capitalize on. Simple as that. Moving on to gameplay, the combat is pretty decent, and the first-person perspective enhances it even further, with tight weapon controls and beautiful weapon design and animations. It's like any other RPG where you shoot enemies and see numbers pop over their heads. It can become quite addicting when you upgrade your skills, which we will talk about in just a moment, to see those numbers bump up substantially, and the game can offer multiple ways for players to enjoy their playthrough. If you want to be a melee focused ninja, it's possible. If you rely more on your technical prowess and want to use state-of-the-art tech weapons, you can do that too. The skill system here is vast and detailed, where you can create a character that fits your playstyle the best, and you can even respec your skills if you want to try a different build. This level of customization is remnant of The Witcher 3, and the implementation here is pretty impressive. Moving on to the visual and audio design of the game, starting with the visual side of things, it's a no-brainer here. This is the most impressive looking game to have come out this year. The graphical settings have a vast array of options to choose from, but the main attraction here is the implementation of ray tracing, and to its fullest extent, from ray trace lighting, shadows, and reflections. Playing this game with maxed out settings is a privilege because even the mightiest of graphics cards from Nvidia can't run this game on 4K max settings at a locked 60 frames per second. I played this game on an RTX 2080 Super on 1080p, and the visual fidelity really sets a new benchmark to which all future game releases will be compared to, no doubt. Audio design of the game is extremely well done. The voice acting is top notch, as I mentioned before, and when I heard Keanu Reeves' character for the first time, I was blown away by the level of quality the game presented to me. The soundtrack is very nice too, going very well with the Cyberpunk theme, but unfortunately, I couldn't listen to much of it as I was streaming the whole campaign, and the recent DMCA debacle with Twitch made it impossible for me to fully enjoy the music, even though they added a specific option to turn off any copyrighted music to avoid any DMCA complaints, but that didn't work either. So, the music I experienced was during gameplay, and radio stations were muted for the entirety of the playthrough. In conclusion, Cyberpunk 2077 would have been a fantastic game if it was not marred by all of these negative criticisms stemming from the game's technical issues. It's a marvel to behold and listen to. The main story is pretty interesting, with great voice acting and character development. The combat and skills work very well in tandem, giving players a lot of replay value to keep coming back to Night City, but the admission fee is quite high, as you'll need a very good PC or the next-gen console to really immerse yourself in the world. Is it worth it in your opinion? Let me know in the comments below, and also check out this video where I show you how to play Cyberpunk 2077 on max settings for less than $100. Finally, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel and give this video a like. It really supports this channel a lot, and I want to make more gaming related content for you guys in the future. Also, I stream on Twitch from Monday to Thursday, so follow me there to be notified whenever I go live. This has been Nexus. Stay classy, gamers. Godspeed.